Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for the webcast Routers. Are they a thing of the past? Sorry for the delay in getting started, but John is here and ready to go. Just a few housekeeping notes before I turn it over to him. You can ask any questions you may have for John during the webcast in the questions panel on your toolbar on the right-hand side. We will try to answer as many of those as possible at the end of today's presentation. Also, I will be sending out an email with a link to the recording in the next couple of days to everybody who attended and signed up and registered. So without further ado, I will turn it over to John Ayers. John?
Hey, David, thank you very much. And thanks for everyone for bearing with us. It's technical difficulties, but everything's good to go. So as David said, my name is John Ayers. I'm the Vice President of Product Management here at Nexurium. And what we're going to be doing today is focusing on the fact of routers. Are they a thing of the past, or are they not? And we'll kind of discuss some of the pros and cons, and we'll hopefully have some time for some Q&A. So, however, before we get going here, I wanted to make sure we talk about some of our accomplishments, who we are, what we're doing, those types of things. I want to make sure that people know what we do, those types of environments. We're very established, very innovative when it focuses on the event tracker, the quadrant. We've been on the event quadrant sim for the last 11 years now. Most of you have not seen our recent press release that came out today. 2,500 devices that we've deployed since May of last year. So very excited about the momentum and things of that nature. A little bit about Nexurium, for those of you who do not know, we've been in this business for over 15 years. We're very established, blue chip customer base, multi-location business. It's something that's where we do. One of the things, if you can't tell, obviously security is at our DNA. It's at our core of who we are, what we do, hence the event tracker aspect of the side of the house, as well as our history as it relates to managed firewalls, UTM, various other things. We're very distributed in nature, meaning that you're really focused on the value of managed service, very much around the customer experience, or what I like to call that concierge type of service associated with our customers. But let's talk about who we are first, right, from a delivery aspect. When you think about, who we are, what we do, we really have two different distinct products. One is our BranchSDO. The other is our event tracker. A little trivia question, what does SDO stand for? If you have not heard, it stands for software-defined orchestration, which really builds into the, who we are, what we do around SD-WAN inside this product set. So let's really dive into this routers. Are they a thing of the past, or were they a fad, or are they here to stay? Are they able to evolve and see where we're going? Look, let's focus on the market trends to really outline that and discuss that. Mobility. Look, there's a census out there, 5 billion new networked mobile devices by 2020. Think about that for a minute. That's 5 billion. 2 years ago, it was about 1 billion. Now we're at 5 billion. That means that everywhere the workplace environment is now flooded with these mobile devices. So mobile devices are really blurring what we call the border of our environment today, right? It's consumer, it's workforce, it's employee, it's partner. Internet of Things is here to stay, or Internet of Everything is here to stay. The cloud. 70% of companies have at least one cloud application in the cloud today. When you hear the cloud, you think about Amazon, you think about Azure, you think about Google. This is the cloud that we're working with. And every time you hear somebody talk, my stuff's in the cloud. My stuff's in the cloud. But really, is it in the cloud? And what's really driving the results of these trends is the changing environment, right? Security has become just a utility. If you look at a lot of people's phones today, they use it when they need it. Cloud migration across verticals. Security sometimes is a big inhibitor, and it really is, because how do I secure that environment in the cloud? How do I maintain my border? By the way, what is my border? And then the traditional firewall, they're really no longer sufficient, right? There's so many different point solutions that are out there. The issue of resiliency, how do I maintain? If I'm always on, my customers are always on, should I always be on? And then it comes back to visibility. What's on my wire? The recent attacks really have made it very, very clear that without visibility, you have no defense. With visibility, you at least have a chance. So let's focus on, the router is dead. Is the router is dead? I think that it is. I think the traditional IETF standard router that's out there, is really gone to the wayside, and more and more companies are trying to figure out how to bring different point solutions or devices together to bring a complete universal solution. But with Netsurian and CXD, we feel like we've actually brought all that together into a universal device or an integrated all-in-one appliance. And really what I mean by that, we focus on 4 key elements when we think about this universal approach. Resiliency. Our box has cellular failover. It has auto VPN, dynamic traffic shaping. It has those things that really are focused on maintain the resilience. No longer can you just be LTE by itself. No longer can you be broadband by yourself, but you combine those two together, you're now at 4.9. So it's an important piece. Agility, versatility. It's a must in our environment today. Why? Because of the cloud. It goes back to that 70% effort. No longer can we just sit back and let the cloud come to us. We have to go to the cloud. This rapid deployment, zero touch provisioning or rapid provisioning, smart steering. How do I control my traffic? Do I want all my traffic to go out of a WAN port, or do I want to only have that critical traffic to go through my VPN and internet offload at the edge, so I can now really take the commodity I've got and utilize it to its best advantage. The other is security. No longer is it a utility, right? It's not a utility anymore. It's basically embedded. It's part of what you're doing. It's part of your DNA. It's part of the CXD. Things like zero trust, working from the inside out versus outside in. You're not going to leave your front door open to let somebody go into your house. What you're going to do is put a door there, and someone knocks on it, you open, and it's inside versus outside. Same concept with security, right? You're not going to just open the door and say, hey, I can secure everybody that's coming through my door. No, that's hence why you have a door. So I think, the Vikings got it right. The others with the moat and the drawbridge and everything else, we've all lived off that defense in-depth approach. Lastly is compliance. It's an important piece that with every universal device that compliance is not forgotten about. It's important to be in that PCI environment, the encryption, the ability to have an audit trail. What did Johnny do? When did Johnny do it? What did Johnny change? All these things are associated. So when you think of is the router dead, it's not so much that the router is dead, but has the router evolved? And we really feel like with our CXD service that you will find as customers and then partners that this universal concept of an integrated appliance makes your life not only resilient, it delivers agility for you, it has security embedded as part of its DNA, but it's compliant for you to meet the necessary things that you need for your business. So very exciting times when it comes to this. So why is this important? Our job here at Netsurian has really been focused on leveraging the SD-WAN core components, making the edge smarter, not harder. So really, what does that mean? We talked a little bit about the challenges of the single points of vulnerability, the operational burden. Think about that for a minute. You've got all these devices. The graphic below really kind of gives you a really good view of how many point solutions and things you have to go do to really, stand up your environment and maintain that, the cost of maintaining that, the always-on reliability for that need. But we fast forward in what we consider to be the future environment is the secure connectivity, the secure yet efficient yet centralized environment by bringing all these universal things that should be one into one. And that's what it really is an important piece of our service, which is really helping us focus in on the need for secure connectivity at the edge. So let's talk a little bit about how our box combines that traditional deployment option, right? So it really comes down to CXD plus orchestrator. Our orchestrator, which is our cloud control service, really enables that self-service, that transport versatility, that rapid service deployment option, to even having that DNA aspect of our stateful firewall with DNSSEC web filtering, all built into one, where when you start to bring these firewalls, so your modems and switches and things of nature, all these become gaps. Hence, the biggest problem you see in cybersecurity today is not how many point solutions you have deployed, but what is the point solution doing? Where now the mystery has been solved. We have the point solution that's doing it all, and it's all managed what? By the cloud. So what about firewalls? How do we stack up there? When you think about UTM and you think about the standard firewall, it's really important to see that what we have done is we've really stacked ourselves up to solve for that gap between the two. So stateful inspection, we have all these. So I'm not going to go through all of them. A couple things I want to call out is segmentation. In order to really deliver the right network experience or security experience today, it's really going to start with segmenting your network. No longer can you just rely on the fact that I've got a single LAN, single port, going out a single WAN port. Segmentation starts from not only virtualizing your network, but also segmenting your network, and then also having the ability to steer that traffic out a specific interface. That's an important piece in today's environment because, one, there's no need to send data that O365 or any of the security type data out to through a VPN and clog your VPN down when you can internet offload, leveraging the security of that application that's already been built in for you. So why not leverage it? Why not really make your network more efficient? Hence going back to making it smarter, not harder. So as we continue to wrap up here towards our end, we want to talk a little bit about and showcase some of our multifunctional edge appliances, a little bit more close up between the 2500 and 2800, which is really focusing on these unified devices and really what the specs can do. So a couple things I want you to walk away from. One of those is obviously the dual SIM aspect of the 2800. It has that auto resiliency, the ability to detect your primary carrier once it goes turned on, and then fail over to that second carrier if necessary. The other piece that I really want you to focus in on is like the 2500, very switchable aspect, right? This device actually has the ability to reschedule and basically move your WAN circuits between ports and various other things. So very excited about the multifunctional aspect of it. So let's wrap up on, this is all great, but how do I manage it? How do I control it? And the beauty of our universal CPE is the fact is that at the top of the pyramid is really the orchestrator. It's your command and control center, which makes simplicity yet agility very important, right? Because now you have a single pane of glass to monitor your device, configure your device, secure the environment behind your device, and then control the traffic and how that device is actually going to operate. So all those things are there. Think about this. Take a moment and pause and think about the environment you have today. Count how many devices you have in your network today and how many different interfaces you have to use to log into those devices and to manage those devices, the subscriptions you have to manage on the devices. Just think about that for a minute. So take a minute and pause and think about how many you have and who's monitoring them, who's managing them, how many single points of failure you have in your network, and how you're going to figure out how to solve for that point of failure when it happens. These are the things that we really feel like with NetSharing and BranchSDO, we're going to solve for. So a case in point, here's a great example of an infrastructure for a retail solution, where we've segmented the network between trusted environments to secure employees, to point of sale, to non-trusted, untrusted type traffic, and really the fact of how that traffic is actually managed. So it's an important piece of this universal type device or this integrated appliance that brings all these things to deliver what we call reduction as a patchwork. We're trying to help reduce the patchwork of networks or devices required to deliver the right secure connectivity solution. So with that said, I'm going to walk through this last piece real quick and just wrap this up and say, hey, thank you. I apologize again for the delay to get started, but I hope that you found our information very useful when it talks about our router's dead or the thing of the past, or is the universal appliance the better way to go? So thank you. David, to you.
Thank you so much, John. We did have a couple of questions come in, so let me shoot those over to you right now. What are the security challenges when migrating from MPLS to SD-WAN?
Great question. It's not so much it's a big security issue because remember, MPLS is a private network. But for us, we limit so we are very much an alternative to MPLS. So what you're actually doing is improving your performance. So what do you mean by that? So it's not so much security, it's really about performance improvement. Because you get our auto VPN service that it really mimics that of an MPLS environment, but no longer do you need to send all your internet traffic across the VPN and then have it drained somewhere out of some service provider's point of presence. What you can do now is offload that at the edge and allow your VPN to be used for that trusted, secure traffic at the data center that you absolutely need. So while it's not so much of a security issue, what you're actually doing now is improving the quality of your network and the performance of your network by using the SD-WAN solution, because SD-WAN gives you that ability, especially ours, right, to give you that versatility and that flexibility that MPLS really doesn't give you. Without, again, another cost of a hybrid WAN service, which is now layered on top, right? So, that's where a lot of service providers are trying to maintain MPLS is using the hybrid approach. So hopefully it helps answer that question.
Great, thanks, John. Another one came in. Do you have any tips for a good migration strategy from MPLS links to SD-Branch?
I do, right? That's actually a very good question. So I do have a couple tips. One of the things, I'll use ours as an example of a tip. We've actually done this with quite a few MSPs. Because the MPLS router is managed most likely by your provider, you can get a DHCP IP address off that. Our device actually does do very well with DHCP. We can plug in the back of that router, get the IP address off that router, and now you can start to steer your traffic. So in essence, it becomes a leg off of your network. So by making it a leg off of your MPLS network, you can now begin to create various access control lists or interface steering policies or VLANs that now can source that traffic over to an SD-WAN. So eventually, when that is over, you can actually cut the cord from the MPLS environment, because why? You're already going out to the internet, but the purpose of the migration is, how do I start to send traffic to my data center without the need of an MPLS environment? So the tip there is, work with your service provider. Our device is very versatile. It can plug in, it can grab a DHCP IP address. All the devices then can be steered that traffic. You can start to segment that traffic and steer it over either at the VLAN segment level or just based on the traffic an ACL, access control list of that type of service. So very easy to do. That's what makes us very versatile, right? There's no need for that static, no need to have it, because we just treat it as an internet port. So hopefully it helps.
All right, thank you so much. One more here. Ask a little bit about our costs, but adopting multifunctional devices for branches besides broadband and cellular, what are some differences there?
Let me make sure I understand the question.
Reading that right.
Yeah. So
here, let me read it again to you, John.
Okay, go ahead.
What are the typical costs of adopting multifunctional devices for the branches besides broadband and cellular plans?
Okay.
Not sure if that.
So multifunctional device. So if you're talking about the cost, we are a multifunctional device. We're very much an integrated appliance with multiple functions: Wi-Fi, firewall, cellular. So let's take those three. So we've combined those all into a single price, but Wi-Fi, the cost there can be anywhere from an Aruba device to Ubiquiti to whatever to your for your Wi-Fi. Now I got to go buy a firewall. I got to go buy whatever that firewall, that tail off of that. Now I got to go buy a cellular modem that now needs to plug into something. I already have my router, right? And by the way, maybe there's a fifth, which is the switch. So if the question is really about what's the cost differences between our integrated appliance to a typical network environment, there's 5 things you got to go out and buy. There's 5 things that we've already solved for.
Okay. Yeah, I think that kind of clears it up in terms of, just the ease of a multifunction device versus, like you said, going out and buying 5 different things.
Multiple point devices, correct. Yeah. And it goes back to that earlier slide, right, where we said, hey, making the WAN smarter, not harder, reducing the number of single resilient points in your network. Look, that's 5 different swivel chairs, 5 different panes of glass now, 5 different subscription models. The 5s keep growing, right? So it just keeps growing where you have one single device, one single subscription, one single command and control center. The simplicity speaks for itself. So.
Excellent. All right. Well, that is all the questions we had for now. So I wanted to thank you again, John, for jumping on and sharing all this information with us. It certainly is very helpful and very intriguing. Thank you to everybody who attended. As I said earlier, I will be sending out a recording of this, so you can certainly pass it along to colleagues who may be interested in what John had to say today. And that's really all we have for today. Thanks so much again, John. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a great day, everybody.